Hello, my name is Trenee Brooks. This is my data overview for analyzing the Georgia EOC milestones data for analytic geometry students. The purpose of this presentation is to analyze the demographics of my school, which is Salem High School, located in Rockdale County, Georgia. And as well as look at the student achievement in analytic geometry from the years of 2014 through 2018. I will display a lot of demographics of the school, the students, as well as the teachers, and I will also show you the results from the Georgia milestones in analytic geometry, and I will show you from Salem's perspective, the results from Salem's perspective, the district, Rockdale's district, as well as the state of Georgia, and I will be comparing those three results, and I will be identifying the strengths and weaknesses, as well as talking about suggestions and improvement areas. So let's first dive into the demographics of Salem, which are the Seminoles. So this is a view of the attendance from 2014 to 2018. And as you can see, each year it decreases a little bit, as well as the 5 or fewer absence, those decrease, as well as the 6 to 15 day absences percentages, those decrease as well. And the only thing that is increasing is the 15 or more days absences is on a little of an increase. This is the student enrollment in 2015. In the school year of 2014 and 15, there was 1,549 students, and it decreased from there. So 2017 and 18, there was 1,296. So this just displays this displays each grade level. So the blue represents the 12th graders, orange is 11th, gray is 10th grade, and then the lighter yellow is 9th grade. So as you can see, there was in 2014, there was a high number of 10th graders, and then it decreased. And we'll talk about that decrease among the years and why that happened. This is to display Salem's diversity. As you can see, there has been in the last 4 years, there has been a large number of African American students, which is represented in each chart in each pie graph in the orange. So it's been in the 80 percentile. Then with the gray you have Hispanic, then blue is white, green, I don't think that's green, I don't know, and then the darker blue is Asian. This is depicting the gender, female and male. So as you can see, they're kind of consistent. They're kind of around the same percentages, high 40s, low 50s. So it's kind of even distribution of male to female ratio. So as you can see in the trend, it decreased every year, and this is because Rockdale has started a choice program. So high school students have a choice of which of the 3 high schools they attend. So that's part of the reason why there has been such a decrease. Also with the pie graph, you can see that there has been consistency among African Americans enrollment every year. With the absences, there has been a decrease in 15 or less absences, but a slight increase with the 15 or more. Unsure why that is. And then we'll talk about the economically disadvantaged students. It stayed consistent from year to year, and we'll look at that graph as well. And here's the graph for the economically disadvantaged students. So the blue shows the disadvantaged students, and the orange shows the not disadvantaged students. And as you can see, it's kind of has been consistent with a small decrease in 2017-18, but it has been consistent. So this graph shows the different enrollment programs with your special education programs, gifted, alternate, vocational labs, and the things that are the different programs that are available at Salem High School. This shows our graduation rate by ethnicity. So as you can see, because there is a majority of an African American presence at Salem High School, so of course it's going to be a higher graduation because those are who are most attending the school. And it decreased a little, but went back up, and then it decreased some more. And then there was a high number of whites, and then that slowly decreased over the years. This is the retention by gender and by race. So as you can see, by male and female, it decreased, then it slowly went back up. And then among black students over here, it decreased the retention, which is good from, and I wonder why that decrease happened between 2014 and 15. But then it slowly back up on an increase. And then with the whites, it just decreased, and there was nothing else done. With the Hispanics, it was just, it started, but there no more information about the retention of Hispanics at Salem. This shows the percentage of enrollment in other groups as far as free and reduced lunch, limited English proficiency, as well as students with disability. So the trends that we've just seen, economically disadvantaged students remain consistent from 2014 to 15 with a small decrease in 2018. The graduation rate among African American students increased, then decreased again over the 4-year period, which we just saw that. The retention rate among female students both had a drastic decrease with a steady increase later. And there was a drastic decline in retention of African American students in the same years of the female and male retention rate. Now, we've looked at the students and we've talked about all the different types of students that are at Salem. Well, let's talk about the different types of teachers that are at Salem. So these are different paragraphs to show you over the years the male and female ratio, which as you can see from 2015 to 2017, it basically stayed the same. But if you look at 2017, it was a little, 2017-18 was a little change. So it kind of was consistent these 3 years. This talks about the race and ethnicity. So the teachers kind of show what the students are. So it's majority African American students, and there are majority African American teachers there as well. And it's a more higher representation of white teachers than students. And then the Asia has been consistent as well. Years of experience. I did notice that majority of the teachers who teach at Salem High School have a lot of years of experience. You don't find any, it's not a lot of teachers from year to year that have less than a year experience. Everybody has between 1 to 20 years experience, which is really good. They have, a lot of teachers that have experience in what they're doing, so that can help as well. Now, let's look into analytic geometry. We're going to look into the Georgia EOC milestones. So first, we're going to take a look at Salem's results from the last 4 years. And then we're going to look at the district, which is Rockdale County. And then we're going to look at the state of Georgia results. So first, let's take a look at Salem's. Or let's discuss what are, just in case you're unsure or what the milestones are. From the Georgia Milestone Assembly System, from their website, they described it as a comprehensive summative assessment program given to students in grades 3 through high school. And they specify high school because there are actually 10 different courses in high school that are required to take the EOC milestones. The purpose of the Georgia Milestone is to provide information on how well students have mastered standards within a specific content area in their core courses. So unlike the EOCT that was previously given, they had 3 distinct achievement areas, but the milestone has 4. So the lower area is beginning, then you have developing, proficient, then distinguished. And what the milestone assessment is made up of different testing items, which is kind of different now because now they have constructed responses, they have multiple choice, and now they've added on a new feature, which is a technology enhanced questioning where students actually have to click and drag, drop, and insert different things on the computer. And the milestone now is highly done online, so they're kind of getting rid of the paper test. I think that's just only for students with IEPs or who are required to take paper and pencil, but other than that, it's mostly technology based, so everybody is taking them on some form of laptop or iPad, things of that nature. So this is the student performance for Salem. So as you can see, the developing decreased and then it went back up. Not developing, the beginning. So the beginning area, if you can see right here, I'm looking at this area. The first year it started at a little over 50%. But then it went down these 2 years, and then it went back up. But if you also notice, because of the beginning increased in 2017-18, it decreased in developing. So it seems like those students transition over to beginning. So I wonder what was done at Salem to have that decline, that transition, that movement. Also, you can tell, so it's like if you look in comparison that with the beginning and developing, if the beginning is down in 1 year, then it causes the developing to get over. So you're switching those students. So especially in 2015-16, wonder what was made instructional wise or what was done to have an increase in developing to move those students. As you look at the proficient area, there was a slight increase in 2016 and 17. So what instructional strategies were done at that year to have such an increase? And it seems like that year was a good year because beginning was kind of low and then developing was up, as well as proficient learners. So I wonder what instructional strategies were used with the analytic geometry teacher in 2016 and 17 to have such a different impact than the previous and latter years. And then also at that time, you can see that the distinguished was up as well. So that is something really to look into and see what was specifically done that year. Was it a new group of teachers? Were they enrolling out new strategies or doing things differently? So that is something to look at. Next, we'll look at the county, so Rockdale County's achievement. And that same year is actually gray in this one that we were discussing, and it's kind of looks like it's a little consistent as far as Salem goes with the district. It's just that distinguished went down, but everything else seems to be kind of like what we saw. But the difference with this one, well, no, Salem's was the same this in 2017 and 18, that there was an increase in beginning and a decrease in developing. So I wonder in the district as well as Salem, what was going on at that point in time, or what happened for that transformation to happen. But distinguished has been kind of consistent as far as well as proficient. See a little movement within beginning and developing. And you kind of do see that same pattern that if developing decreases, then you're going to see an increase. I mean, if beginning level is decreasing, then you're going to see a increase in developing. Next, we have the state's performance. So theirs is kind of the same thing that I'm saying. If beginning decreases, then developing is going to increase. They also have this change in 2015 through 16. So not that change in the district and Salem where their biggest change was in 2016-17. So wonder what was done in the state for that to be a transition. And it probably was the transition from in the state, it probably was the transition from analytic geometry to just straight geometry, because if you look at the number of students who tested, it was in 2015-16 it was 100,000, but then it dropped down to 28,000, and that is a drastic change of students taking the test. But what happened was they separated the two contents, so not only is there analytic geometry, but there is a geometry course. Just like with coordinate algebra, there was coordinate algebra, but there's also algebra 1. But as far as Rockdale, we're still doing analytic geometry. Some of the state has already transitioned to geometry, regular geometry. So that's probably why that change occurred here in the state. And I also broke down and looked at the student performance by gender, and just to see how it was correlating male and female. It kind of was consistent among the two, and they kind of made the same changes. I did notice that it was a distinguished change in females, as well as the male and female kind of had a drastic increase in 2017 and 18. I also wanted to look at the race and ethnicity in the school. So the gender and the race and ethnicity is within Salem, not the district or the state. Is just within Salem specifically. But there are different patterns that has happened. I did notice that, hold on, let me see. Yeah, I did notice that in the beginning, which is blue, there was a 15% decrease among African Americans from 2014 and 15, but then a little increase, and that kind of happened among all of the ethnic groups. But I also saw this drastic change here with the 2 or more races that went on it really increased from 2015 to 2017. Now, so from all of the things that I viewed, the strengths that I saw is that the state is slightly increasing in distinguished learners every year, and proficient learners have remained consistent within the district. Weaknesses that I'm learning is that the trend in the district is if there's an increase in beginning, then there's a decrease in developing, and vice versa. And I've also noticed that the decrease in developing in each race and ethnicity group at Salem. So, that's something to look upon. Improvements. So more enrichment implementation for students to improve in a distinguished learner at the school and district and state level. So I feel like if there are more enrichment programs or more enrichment implementations done in classrooms, then that could help us with the distinguished learners. Share strategies across the district to assist with student achievement. I feel like if we share more within the district of what we're doing and what works with our students, then that can help us improve or move more students from beginning to developing and developing to proficient, to have that movement done. Also, we might need to, a need would be to compare, especially a need for the district, is to compare the analytic geometry and the geometry EOC milestones to distinguish if there's a need to be a statewide transition to one content. Because if you see that drastic change, it was 100,000 in 1 year testing in analytic geometry, and then the next year is only 28,000 out the state. So I wonder if the state made that change, why hasn't the district decided to make that change as well? So I wonder, there needs to be a statewide discussion of that need. Do we still need analytic geometry, or do we need both of them, or do we just need one? Suggestions. At the school level, students can monitor their growth in analytic geometry throughout the year via STAR 360. So we have STAR 360, which kind of tells which domain areas the students are doing well in analytic geometry. So I feel as if the students are monitoring their growth in that program, that can help them be more motivated and more engaged in them growing and having higher achievement levels. Also, require teachers to create remediation and enrichment plans for low and high performing students. If we are creating remediation plans for our low performing students, then that can help them transition from beginning to developing. And if we create enrichment plans, because I think we tend to forget about the high performing students and we focus a lot on the low performing students. So if we create an enrichment program for our high performing students, then I feel that they will be successful as well, and we can possibly move them from proficient to distinguished. So the questions that I have is what strategies can be implemented to enrich higher level learning students in analytic geometry? Are analytic geometry teachers being provided with the necessary support from their coaches, their DLS, the administration to reach all of their learners, not just low learner? We need to reach high learner students as well. And are there any technology resources available to help motivate, engage our beginning learner? Because I think it's more of, with the beginning learner, I think it has a lot to do with motivation and engagement. So are there any technology resources that we have that we can use to motivate those students and move them? Because I think it is possible all students can learn, but you just have to key in on what helps them and what they learn from and what's more beneficial to them. So here are my references. And I really appreciate you taking the time out to listen to my presentation. I hope this has got you thinking about different things, because it has helped me to look at things differently. Thank you.